All right. Welcome back, listeners, to the Canadian Spartan Ambassador Podcast. We've got a brand new guest on here with us tonight who just recently attended the World's Toughest Mudder. So welcome, Dave, to our
Hello,
podcast.
Amber.
We're so excited to have you on here tonight and learn more and talk more about World's Toughest Mudder and, hear about your experience. But before we get to that, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
So my name is David Didier. I live in Port Washington, Wisconsin, which is in the States, obviously. I'm a little bit north of a bigger city called Milwaukee. I've been an ambassador for Tough Mudder for about 6 years, and I've just ingrained myself in that community, and the community has ingrained itself in me. It's just such a fun atmosphere that I just love going to events every chance I get. World's Toughest is by far my favorite because that's like the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup, as you would say it in Canada, of the Mudder community.
Well, that's a big
awesome.
deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like
That
Game
is a big
7.
deal. So when were you first introduced to Toughest, or I guess not Toughest Mudder, but Tough Mudder?
2013 was my very first event. My son and I heard about it from a friend, and it was him, myself, and a good family friend. We did the course in Wisconsin here and just got hooked. I mean, once Sean gave his little speech at the beginning, I literally kneeled down and said a prayer like, please help me survive this. We had so much fun. It rained all morning, so the course was just a train wreck of a disaster. And we just had so much fun when we were done. It was like, yeah, we have to do this again. There's no way we can't stop doing. We have to continue doing this. So we did. Well, I did. They haven't done as many as I have, but I did, because literally this weekend was my 25th.
Oh, wow.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. So actually, while we have you here and you showed us that, how do you earn something like that? Like, what are some extra things like that you can earn by doing Tough Mudders? Because in Spartan, you can earn trifectas and stuff like that. So how do you earn that badge of honor, the 25 times?
So to me, it's everybody looks at it differently. To me, it's how many events you do, not how many laps you do. To me, I've done 25 different events starting from 2013 till now. So I personally have kept track of every one that I've done. So this weekend was Worlds, and you get a headband at Worlds. You get a really cool T-shirt, which I'm wearing. See if I can scan down here a little bit. So I get this really cool T-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then you get this really, really cool medal when you've crossed the finish line. And at every event, you do get a T-shirt and a headband. So I've just kind of kept track over the years myself. And I mean, there was a guy at Worlds who did his 200th, my good friend Ryan. So I'll never catch him. Never.
And we have some people on,
200 events. Yes.
We have some Spartans that do some crazy stuff. If you go back to any of our podcasts, we just did one on somebody chasing lifetime trifectas, and so it's the same. It's very similar, the communities. I think for Tough Mudder, there's a little bit of a difference because you don't earn the medals, but you are showing us a medal. Do you just win those for the long endurance events, or do those? Tell us about the medals part.
So the medals are unique. Like when you do a regular event, you get a headband and you get a shirt and a beer. That's kind of the finishing line experience. When you do the overnight events like the Toughest, or you do World's Toughest, or Infinity, we call it, where you have to do X amount of laps in a given day, then you get a medal for those. So those are like a step up of a regular Tough Mudder. So like World's Toughest is 5-mile laps, starts at noon on Saturday, goes till noon on Sunday. You do as many 5-mile laps as you can. Toughest is an overnight event that starts at noon and goes till 8 a.m. Yeah, 8 a.m. No, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. I'm sorry, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. overnight, and then you get a medal, a headband, and a shirt for that as well. So that's what the medals are.
That's what I got this summer, and actually I met Dave. Didn't know it was Dave because then I joined, of course, the Facebook communities like we do over on the Spartan side, and then kind of found out that it was this guy that was helping at one of the obstacles, and I think I even talked about this before. Basically, one of the obstacles, I'll describe it for anybody who's just listening, but it is basically a giant cargo net A-frame. It's twice or 3 times as big as the one that we see at Spartan. It takes forever to climb it, but the worst part of it is that I don't know how high it is, but basically you have to jump up and use a pinch grip to grab onto a tiny little piece of wood. And then you need to climb it crazy like a spider or something to get up and grab the first part where you can actually start climbing. So that is pretty, well, it would take a lot of work for me. I don't think I could have figured it out that night personally, but Dave, literally, and you'll have to tell me what you actually do, because when they opened that obstacle, he was there with knee pads on and just assisting people all night long to get over this obstacle. So that was his whole job. He had a friend there as well, and she was a rock star as well. And the two of them lifted hundreds of people lap after lap after lap. So what is that all about?
So it's a 40-foot, I think it's either 35 or 40-foot A-frame. And to get up there's a 10-foot tall board. And then there's one like 2x4 that's nailed to it about halfway up. And then it's a cargo net to the top and then a cargo net all the way down the other side. So because I'll get into this later, but I'm a cancer survivor. And when I had my cancer, it destroyed my back. So I can't do a lot of the obstacles. So my goal then is to help other people reach their goals. So what I do is I do my one lap and I stop at Matterhorn, and then I just help people up that wall. So I have literally thick football pads with padding underneath on my knees so people can step on me all night long. And I'm the knee. And then the girl that was next to me, her name was Renee. She was the shoulder. And I've had different people help me over the course of time, like at Minnesota, or I think Pittsburgh, I saw you, right?
Yeah.
So Pittsburgh, it was her and I, and then she's the shoulder. So you step on my knee, her shoulder, then you grab the top ledge where that rope starts, the pinch grip, and you literally just upper body strength, pull yourself up, and up the net you go.
And it's hard.
That's amazing.
It's hard even with your help. So I don't know how I would have personally done it without. I guess there'd be penalties involved for me. And then once you get on top of it, it's still a brutal obstacle. I mean, the A-frame to me, when we're doing Spartan Race, it's a fun one. We do somersaults over it. We have a good time. That one, it feels like you're climbing it for 3 days. And
it's a time consuming because you can't rush it. You're literally climbing up that cargo net, and it's a time consumer. We've had people already go up to the very top and freeze because they're afraid of heights. So we had to go up and get them and bring them down the other side. We've had people come up who've just froze, standing and looking at it. Go, I can't do that. It's just, I can't. Well, at Worlds, it was a must-do obstacle, so you had to do it. So it was me. I had a lot of people help me this year at Worlds that just came up and would assist fellow mutters to get them up and over that wall, because they have goals in mind. They had goals in mind that they had to do. Now the elite athletes, they come running up, they put their hands on that 2x4 and just push themselves up, and they're gone. They just climb up. And there are tricks to it too. Like in the middle and on the edges, there's steel girders. So what I tell people to do, if you're in a hurry, climb up the steel part instead of the cargo net, because it doesn't give as much. So now you're just like you're climbing up a ladder.
Oh, I never thought of that. And that's how I would do it on the A-frame. Yes, there you go. So we'll get all the tips, because I feel like I've kind of convinced Amber to come and do a toughest next year, the one in May. So you will meet Dave for sure, because this is kind of your thing that you do, which I call myself
the man of Matterhorn.
So fun. So tell us a little bit about the community, because you said you and your friend, what was her name again, who was the shoulder and you were the knee?
Renee. Yep.
Renee. Yes. Okay. Like I love hearing stories like that, because the community is a big part of what happens out on that course. Like, I mean, you guys in, World's Toughest, you're out there for 24 hours?
Yeah. So when I did Worlds, I literally started, I walked the course. The first lap is kind of free. They have all the obstacles aren't open yet. So I did the course and I stopped at Matterhorn because it was the second last obstacle. And then I got there, it opened at 2 p.m. and I didn't leave till 12:30 the next morning. Now there was an hour change too. The clock went back an hour. So it was actually about 23 and a half hours I was there helping people.
That is amazing. So did you know Renee before Tough Mudder, or did you guys meet out on the course at some point?
Yeah, I've seen her over the years. She's part of the community like I am. So I've known her for a while. There were other people helping. Steve is a good friend of mine. He helped. He's really tall, so he comes in real handy on that obstacle because he can push people up pretty nice. It's a variety. It changes. Like every time I do it, I have different people helping me, and they might stay for a while. At the very end of the thing on Sunday, a lot of people came because they're like, okay, this is my last lap. I don't have to rush to get through. So I'm going to help you for a while and then just make sure I cross the finish line in time.
That's
so they
awesome.
kind of come and go. Yeah.
That is amazing, because I know like there's some people out there that might look at that obstacle and be like, OMG, right? But knowing that, you know, people out there on the course like want to see you get up there and are willing to help you or stay down there with their knee for 23 hours, like that is amazing.
Well, the first time I did it, I didn't come prepared. I didn't have very good pads on, and my knee was kind of like grated cheese the next day, plus really sore because the shoes, people like dig in and they push off, and that push is just so each time I come to an event, I come more prepared and I learn what works and what doesn't work. Like this year, a lot of people kind of stepped on my arm here and then my knee, so I'm going to have to put padding on my arm next time.
Okay, how long have you been doing this then for? Is this years and years or just a few times?
Year,
nice.
Third year, yeah, something like that.
So how do you do
that?
I
only do that at the main events like Worlds and Toughest and things like that. I don't do it at regular events because there I'm usually, we have in Tough Mudder World something called the Info Hub. So when you walk into the course, you go through the merchandise tent and then you come out and there's the Info Hub. And being an ambassador, we man that hub and then we just answer questions all day long of, hey, where's the changing room, where's the bathrooms, where's the start line, spectators come and want to know where the spectator route is, so we answer all those questions all day long. So typically at a regular event I will go man that booth normally all day long.
That's awesome.
So when you saw me at Pittsburgh, it poured rain that morning, right? You remember the rain?
Yes, I do.
So I got there at 7:30 that morning. I manned that booth till 5, set up in my tent, did overnight toughest, and then went back to the booth the whole next day. So I was awake for like 45 straight hours.
Yeah,
that is commitment.
True dedication.
Well, it's the adrenaline rush. I never get tired. It's just there's constant adrenaline. There's constantly this rush of energy all day and all night long.
Oh my God, you're like one of our people. That's like me and Jill in a nutshell.
Yes.
Buzzing around all over the place. Well, that's why I was just like floored by the whole thing, because I'd done Tough Mudder before, never Toughest. And you go with people always help you. It's somebody behind you. I love helping people. It's fun. I'll stay at an obstacle and help. But there were people stationed like everywhere at the places where you could, that were too difficult or just you get so tired. Like there's one place, there's another one I don't. Everest, yeah. So it's basically back when I was doing more Tough Mudders, they used to have it as a skateboard ramp, like a half pipe, a quarter pipe, and you'd run up and you could actually grab the lip and then put yourself over. Well, Tough Mudder decided that wasn't good enough, so they rounded the lip. So you need somebody to help. I think that's the whole thing with Tough Mudder, is that it's a team effort, and even on these World's Toughest. Now, did you help any of the elites over the weekend? Not that. Oh, nice. So did you have
some of the winners, like
Chris?
when we were at the obstacle and people would come up, you could always tell the elites they had a black bib on. And I would ask if the other people would move over to let them come through because they were on a mission to get done.
Absolutely.
So no one ever complained. No one ever said a word. They were more than glad to move over and let them come. So I'm like, okay, get over here. So quick, knee, shoulder up. And they're just boom, boom, boom. And they're up that cargo net like that.
That's awesome.
That's
kind of like race etiquette too, right?
Yes.
I mean, not to like take anything away from somebody who's there just having fun, but when there's people there, maybe doing a record attempt and it doesn't cost us anything to just step aside for literally 2 seconds so they can whip up that wall, right? So
and they know that the people that are standing there like, hey, here comes we just call him one of the runners or one of the elite runners, and they see him coming, so they move over and they cheer him on, and they let us take care of them because they know we're going to take care of them as well, but we want to get them up and over because they have a mission. Their goal is the winner had 105 miles. He did 21 laps in 24 hours.
Yeah, Austin, one of our Canadians over here.
Yes. I helped him numerous times. He just came up and he saw me. He's like, he knew the routine. And I like when guys like that come because they know how it works. They know the foot, knee, shoulder up, up we go.
And when I approached you, I had no idea what was going on. I was just like, what is this? Why? Okay, great. Well, at first my brain was like, oh, I could probably do this myself. And then I think I might have tried to attempt it. And I was like, no.
It's intimidating too. When you look at it, it's very intimidating.
I want to see Amber try it though, because Amber's quite, She's, I don't want to say monkey, but monkey would be a good word, but also she's a very good gymnast, was a gymnast for a long time. So she has that ability. So I'd like to see how you do it.
I'm just going to go find Dave at the
Yeah,
wall.
you find me.
And I'll be like, give me a knee, then a shoulder, and I'll get up there.
So the other issue is you've got shorter people problems.
Yes.
Have a real hard time getting, even if you're an athlete, you still got to get up 10 feet, where these 6'6", 6'8" guys are like, yeah, I got this without help.
Well, and
True.
even
I mean,
when
their
you
wingspan
lifted,
alone just to
yeah,
reach, right?
even being lifted up there, I still had to kind of like do a little reach as well. Like it wasn't like, oh, wow, this is easy. They lifted me there. It was like, I have to still balance standing on someone's shoulders and keep really close to the wall. And now I have to kind of jump because I'm still too short. So
we had 11 people. I had 11 people fall on me.
Oh,
yeah.
Because that
people
board,
get tired
because it rained that whole morning, I had to constantly keep that board clean because it was so slippery and mud packs in it. So then you'd stand on that, and then they'd try to reach, and they'd miss, and down they come.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Well, okay, I'm gonna change topics here away from the knee shoulder climb. But like a few minutes ago, you said you didn't always spend your whole race there because you had a battle with cancer. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about your story and how your journey maybe shifted?
So back in,
because of that?
Prior to 2018, I had done 5 events, and I did them pretty locally, like Wisconsin, around here. And then in January of 18, I had a pain in my lower back. I went to a chiropractor because I thought that's what it was. And while I was seeing the chiropractor, I had a phone call from my insurance company that said, hey, we want to up your insurance. I'm like, yeah, fine, that's fine. Well, when they did the physical, they found out my protein level in my blood was 4 times higher than normal. And I said, well, that's because I'm training for World's Toughest Mudder. I eat a lot of protein stuff. And they're like, no, this is a different kind of protein. They said, you need to see an oncologist. And I'm like, what's that? And they said, well, that's a cancer doctor. Well, that's a punch in the gut and a slam in the face. So when I went to see the cancer doctor, they're like, yes, you have multiple myeloma. It's a bone marrow cancer, and it's literally eating away at the back of your back, lower part of your back. Okay. So I went through 6 months of chemotherapy, stem cell transplant, 2 weeks in a hospital, healing. I got home. I had 0 immunity, so I had to be real careful with germs. I couldn't eat good. I couldn't eat an apple because it could have germs on it. It was stuff as simple as that. Once I was cleared in May of 19, the first thing I did was sign up for a Tough Mudder event.
Oh my goodness. Of course you did.
Of course I did, because I bleed orange.
Yeah, you did. Literally.
Yes.
Literally, yes. When they took the stuff out of me, they're like, why is this all orange?
Yeah, they were like, he's got something in him that we're not sure about.
That's not cancer.
It wasn't glowing. At least it wasn't glowing.
That is a fight, though. So, like, are you completely in remission now?
Yeah. So I just want to tell you one other thing about that first. Thank you. That first event, 5 ambassadors, Tough Mudder ambassadors, waited for me to cross that finish line to greet me and congratulate. Now, from doing Spartans and Tough Mudders, you don't know when you're going to finish.
No.
But they literally all waited for me to come to the end, and they congratulated me and gave me a big hug. And I was like, it was a pretty emotional moment. I'm not going to lie. And ever since then, that was 5. I've done 20 after cancer and 5 before.
That is amazing. And I find do you have a more appreciation for like movement and like things after going through something like that? Like, do you appreciate being there more now? I feel like some people take it for granted almost.
I do. And one of the reasons why I do what I do is because like, I can't even do something as simple as a chin up because it would hurt my back. Because that's where the pain is. So to me, to run World's Toughest is pointless because I'd get DQ'd on the second lap. But my knees are fine. Step on my legs, but I can't do shoulder because that's compressing on my back.
Yeah.
So whoever helps me, I'm like, okay, I can always be the knee and you're the shoulder. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. We can do that. So then I switch knees from one side to the other, and I rotate with my knee pads on just to make sure I'm fully covered.
That is like, you have the best spirit. Like, just, to find a way to still be involved and to just see others win and just, totally embody what you've gone through and just be like, screw you, you're not stopping me. Two quick stories standing at Mudderhorn. We had a gentleman who we helped up quite a few times, and he came at the very end and he started bawling and he just broke down. And I said, what's going on? What can we do? He said, I lost 100 pounds over the last 3 years to get here, and I'm finishing this race.
Wow. Yeah.
And how does that dot hit you right in the heart, you know?
It does.
Right?
And then I had another woman who's a good friend of mine. She came running up the hill and she stopped and she broke down. And she says, because of you guys, I'm going to reach my goal.
Aw.
Wow.
There's no, because she was like 5'2", 5'3". She says, there's no way if you weren't here, I was going to get my goal.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
And that's the power of the community, right? And
It
just
is.
having those
Oh,
people
yeah.
who, like in this sport, people want to see you win. Like they
Mhm.
want to see you cross that finish line because we know the grit and the drive and the tenacity that's taken to get that far into a race.
Yes.
And people want to see you finish because we all know what it feels like, and we all have a different goal and a reason for being there. But that's what I love about this. I call
Well,
it.
then you try to take that into the outside world with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
don't just keep it here at the events. You take it
Yeah.
out in your real life as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it sounds like the Tough Mudder community is just amazing people. Do you
Yeah,
find like did that help you pull through? Did you have a lot of, support through your journey from the Tough Mudder community as well?
Oh God, yeah. When I was diagnosed in 18, I still kind of went to a couple events. I just couldn't participate.
Mm-hmm.
And people would come up to me and they, there's the pat on the back hug and there's the real hug.
Yeah.
I would get the real hug and they're like, we're so glad to see you here. We're rooting for you. We're praying for you. We want you to see you back out on that course. And it really moved me to I obviously just survived, but it was part of that push, that help, that community again, that just brought me in and sucked me in. So after that was all done, there was no way I couldn't return that favor. So basically I'm just returning the favor for the people who helped me.
And
I
you've
love
done
that.
that so much that you were recognized this weekend. Tough
I
Mudder
was.
recognized Dave and actually gave you an
Yay.
award. Was it a community builder award? Tell us about that experience, because how cool is that?
So every Tough Mudder during the banquet at the end of the event, they have community awards that they give out. One is for mental grit, which I literally was nominated for mental grit in 2019 for what I had gone through with my cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year I was nominated. Well, they didn't really, I don't know if I was nominated, but the CEO was up on stage and he says, yeah, we're giving away, the next award is the community award. He talked a little bit and he says, come on up here, Dave Didier. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no way did this happen. And I walked up and everybody was clapping and cheering. And it just made my heart so happy because the award was voted on by email. So worldwide too, Canada, America, cool. England, everybody who's registered for email got an email and could fill it out and enter in who they wanted to win the community award. And I was voted the winner. And that made me, that is probably that is the highest accomplishment and most gratifying thing that I've ever done, because I was recognized by my peers. It wasn't just that Tough Mudder said, hey, you got this. My peers chose me. And I think they see my story. They see how I helped them on the course, and the help that you get out there makes it so worthwhile, because I have had so many people reach out to me and thank me because they're like, you helped us. And I'm like, well, my goal is to help you get your goal, because I can't do that. So my goal is to help you hit yours.
Well, I know I wouldn't have been able to do that without you, because even if I would have figured it out on the first try, like I didn't realize the level of exhaustion the entire thing would take. I like to do ultras and I like to do stuff like that, but it's very, very hard to just climb something after you've been out there for 12 hours. So even just on sheer tiredness alone, I wouldn't have been able to do it without that boost. So I can see why you won that award, and it sounds like you do so much with the ambassador program as well too. How long have you been an ambassador for with Tough Mudder?
I think this coming year, I'm sure, I'm sure I'll be reselected. I'll be my 6th year.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I love, again, the community and just being able to reach out and help people and be part of that. So if you see me on the course, will be, I don't know if I can get it on there. Can you read that properly?
Cancer, is it the cancer killer one? Cancer killer.
That's me. So if you see that,
I love that. Yes.
So
well, you know what?
Step away for just a second. I have to show you something very special.
Okay.
For anybody who's just listening to this, he is sitting with a background and it's full of Tough Mudder gear. There's all of the bibs because in the Tough Mudder longer events, the ultras, you get a bib to wear and then you can earn bibs for different mileage, and ambassadors get bibs. And so it's bibs and headbands over there.
So when I was diagnosed, I sell electronics for a living, and I was at this lady's house, an elderly lady, and she was sewing. And I said, I need you to do me a favor. And during the year, I had grabbed one of our standard headbands, the Tough Mudder one.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I want you to do something for me. So what I had her do is I had her do that.
The cancer killer.
She literally made me a headband with the little guy running on it. And I asked her to do that. And I said, I'm going to be in the hospital for a couple months. You have plenty of time. There's no rush. So when I was all done with my hospital visits and stuff, I went to visit her and she said, yeah, I have it all done for you.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this is the only one of its kind in the world. And I said, no one will ever, darn well better not, because that was me.
Well,
I trademarked that.
I think you're the only one of your kind in the world.
Yes.
And you know what?
Thank you.
Clearly that has been recognized by everyone in the world, because I mean, I've only known you for a brief 20 minutes while I've been on here, and I can just see that you have so much heart and so much joy, and truly you're just on a mission to help and serve others, and that itself is, I think, why you were just so deserving, and you shine like that, just shines just in a conversation. So congratulations on your accomplishments and for just serving your people, because that's awesome.
And if you weren't fully convinced, as I've been saying for the last week since World's Toughest, and last year I said I was about 50% convinced that I'd do a Tough Mudder bigger event. And now I feel like after this conversation, I'm 100% in for the World's Toughest.
I just want to go hang out with Dave for 4 hours.
You know where to find me.
I'll find you. Yeah. So Dave, actually, speaking of finding you, where can our listeners find you on social media? Are you on Instagram? What's the best way for them to follow your journey?
So my Instagram is ageless and then _journey.
Okay.
That's my Instagram. And then my Facebook is just my name, Dave. I think it's David Didier, David Didier, Didier. And when you load up my page, I'll have a picture of me with my before and after my cancer picture. And then I also have, now I changed my background to my award-winning picture.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if you want to go look at that award, it looked pretty neat. It was a nice clear award. It looked pretty fancy.
Yeah, it was a glass with etching in it with my name in it and stuff. And so camaraderie.
I just love when Spartan or Tough Mudder, when they do stuff like that. I think I love watching elites go. I love watching someone who you would not expect should ever be there go. But I also love seeing someone who's being recognized just for being like a good community member and spreading joy throughout the community. So, because how many people leave a race, whether it's Spartan, Tough Mudder, DECA, feeling like they've just done the coolest thing they've ever done, even if it sucked the whole time.
And it's for everybody. There's no... Like when people come up to me and say, no, I can't do it. I'm like, hey, I'm 64 years old. So that, and I've survived cancer. You better give me a better excuse than that of why you cannot do it when I can still do it.
Exactly.
There you have it. And I feel like we should just end it right there, because that is a mic drop. So if you guys are listening to this, no excuses. Let's get out there. And I know Dave would love to see you out there. So thank you so much, Dave, for joining us tonight.
You're very welcome.
And I highly recommend everybody goes and follows his journey on social media, and you stay connected there. So yeah,
Amber, Jillian, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Come down and visit me sometime from the States, and I'll come up and visit you.
I'll be there in May. So
we're gonna hold you to that. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, no.